Mr. Steve, are you ready, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right. It is now 7:03 on Thursday, January 22nd. We'll call the meeting in order. First order of business is agenda changes. Are there any additions, deletions, or changes to the agenda?
Yes. I would like to add, I would actually like to add two things if I might.
Yes, ma'am.
One would be a discussion of the pool temperature.
Okay.
The other one would be a discussion about NWAC.
So we'll move with
NWAC
this
and Masters.
NWAC/Masters. All right. So can we move that under new business?
Absolutely.
All right. So we will add pool temperature and NWAC and Masters under new business. Anything else?
So the deal with the sidewalk outside.
Sidewalk outside, new business.
We had an injury yesterday for the UT ladies. And a gentleman fell down and hit his head. We'll talk about that sidewalk out there. So.
All right. So another 3 things added to new business: pool temp, NWAC Masters, and sidewalk. Ms. Donna? Anything from you, ma'am?
I do not have anything to.
All right. No other changes. We'll move on to board issues. Any board issues?
Oh, I do have one.
Yes.
I completed the open public record, open public meeting training as required by the state, and so I am fully up to speed, but I would say that I already knew most of that stuff because you guys pound it into my head every time we meet or whatever. Yeah, exactly. But it's good training. And I did it while I was on vacation in Hawaii. That's how much I care. Well, it was night. The sun was already down.
Did you pass?
Yes.
Just asking.
Actually, I believe there's like one of those little things at the end of that training that says it has to be done in the state of Washington while you do it.
It does not.
It doesn't
Because
count.
It does not say that because I would have.
I believe Commissioner Hoffmeyer's making a motion that we retake it in the state of Washington. All right, good. We are now 100% on our Open Public Meetings Act training. That's good news. Any other board issues? And thank you for doing that while on vacation.
Sure.
And Public Records Act.
And Public Records Act, thank you. No other board issues. We'll move to public comments. Mr. Shane Hoffmeyer, you're up.
You know, as is pretty well documented, you know, nearly 2 decades ago, there was, you know, a particularly heinous incident/crime committed by a director/co-chair. You know, those complaints were brought to the board at the time by employees and parents, and those issues were unfortunately dismissed. Unfortunately, at the time, the board chose inaction. And, you know, the question of what is the cost of that inaction, you know, financially to the district is extremely steep. You know, what also is the physical and mental toll to the children of the district. So I make this analogy not for reference of the heinous crime, but for reference of the inaction of the board. So as I move on, you know, there's currently an investigation being done right now by the board. And I guess let me back up a little. You know, we've came really far as a country over the last couple of years. You know, you can't treat people differently or mistreat them, you know, because of their race or their skin color or their religion or their creed or, you know, disability. You know, on and on and on we go. So back to present day. You know, there has been complaints brought to the board by employees and by parents that someone with a disability has been treated differently if they've been mistreated. So I would like to ask the board, what is and what could be the cost of inaction in this case? How steep financially are the toll to that take? But also, what is the toll that has been and could be done to children moving forward? So I guess, you know, I would like to see whether the board is going to choose the right path of action or if they're going to take the path of inaction. And I would assume that the path of inaction could certainly, as it did in the past, lead to steep financial costs. But more importantly, all you guys were elected or appointed to look out for the well-being of the district. But I think more so than that, all of us would agree to protect the children and the vulnerable people in this district. I would like to ask that the board makes the right decision here. I think, the investigation that's been done, I think the facts are certainly there that someone has been treated differently and mistreated due to a disability. And I think, it goes without saying that we know what the law says and how steep of a financial toll it could take, but morally, at least morally, let's do the right thing, and that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Dave?
Mine's more of a question.
Yes, sir.
Good, I'm sorry, full name?
Dave Smith? Thank you very much. I apologize.
Grants.
Grants?
Right. How do I go about getting the data? How many grants we've submitted? Who writes the grants? What types?
I can answer that.
Yeah.
0, no one, and 0 so far. We actually, I like you. We have submitted for one grant through the state for an energy efficiency grant that was written by a company, Sean, Integrity Energy Services in cooperation with the state. It's to upgrade all of our systems here and make us more energy efficient. It's something a program that the state actually runs for special districts. There were 27, 28. There were a high number of districts that put in for the last grant in December. We found out they get state awarded 4 grants. We were one of the 27 or 28 that applied. I can't remember the exact number, my apologies. And I talked to Mark, and we did not get that grant. We were not awarded that grant. Mark does. That's part of that co-op, and Mark can better, that's part of what the state pays his company to do. So the district didn't pay anything for it. So it's part of that agreement that these companies that are certified with the state, they will write the grants for the districts. So that's the way that program worked.
And that's for specific.
That was very specific.
Repair, maintenance,
It-
expansion, there's a lot of...
There was no, yeah, that wasn't for expansion. That was only for energy efficiency, solely for energy efficiency. For,
Writing grants.
we would have,
There's money out there, and
I think that's something we should definitely look into as a board, and I think we're open to that. But yeah, we'd have to find out more about that. Yes.
Right. Okay. I'll volunteer my services to a certain degree, because I don't want to muddy up the water.
Understood. Well, hopefully we muddy up the water later. We'll see.
All right. Good, okay.
All right.
That's my question. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Evelyn, Miss Evelyn.
Yes.
How do you say your last name, Evelyn?
Henriksen.
Say it again for me.
Henriksen.
Henriksen.
The H is like a K.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
I've been a member here, coming regularly since 2000, and I know that you have on your list of the agenda for tonight, water temperature. Well, that's my main thing, is that it's just on the verge of comfort. Most, when it's 82, I do water aerobics.
Right.
I can't lap swim. I can't get out there and put that much energy in it to keep my body up. And I continue to come. I probably come 250 days out of the year.
Great.
Because I need it for myself. And it's important, I think, for all the elderly that come to these aerobic classes to have that option. Because the doctors are saying, go to the pool, go to the pool. But over the years, so many people I have seen come, and it's very few that will continue to come when they come 2 or 3 weeks, maybe 3 times a week, and they're cold every time, they aren't going to come back. And I know that you need the swim team and the lap swimmers like the pool. And I understand that. We are fortunate enough to have a different pool for. So we have to kind of meet in the middle. Well, when it goes below 82, we're not comfortable. And a degree or two makes a big difference.
Yes, ma'am.
I wasn't here, but I heard someone talk to the swim coach the other day, and he said, well, Tuck, it's going to stay 81 if you've got to live.
Okay.
And I don't think that's quite an appropriate
Okay.
answer to the problem. I think we're going to compromise, they have to compromise. And it is a public pool. I think the program for the kids is an absolute necessity. I
Thank
see
you.
parents paying for individual lessons on the weekend, and the kid spends 10 minutes out of that half hour sitting on the side of the pool because it's so cold they can't get in without shaking. And I think just a little bit would help considerably. I know that it costs more money, but if the people come, when they come, if it's comfortable for them, they're going to want to come again.
Right.
It's a good family outing, but if they can only play in the little kids' pool because it's too cold in the big pool, you know, you've lost a lot of people. And every 6 years, you're going to levy a maintenance and operation levy. I understand totally, and I've supported every one of them that have come up.
Thank you.
Over the years, even the many years that I did not come to the pool, I voted yes on it because I feel the pool is that important to the community. But if it's only going to be swim team, and they want it at 81, I, for one, when my membership is full, and that's going to be something back, I'll find some other way to exercise. Because it really is a problem that needs to be addressed.
May I speak after her?
Oh, you're on the list after her, ma'am.
Oh, I-
Yes, ma'am. So, hey, you know what, we're going to talk about it tonight on the agenda, and I don't know if you ladies can stick around, but
I'm going to speak.
we'll ask our coach for his input at that time, and we'll ask our senior staff, because we've got our aquatics director here also, for her input at that time, and then I'm sure you're going to hear input from all the board members.
Mr. Chair.
So, yes, sir.
Can we put that at the beginning of new business if we could for that?
Does anybody have an objection to moving pool temperature to the start of new business for those in attendance?
No.
That way.
All right.
Yeah.
Will that help?
Fill out a form.
I know.
last week.
I have a copy of it. I read it.
And I was just going to let it go at that. I don't come from the result.
No.
But when I heard the comment that I heard, and it may have been interpreted a little bit different, I don't know. But I didn't feel that it was a very good answer.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much, Evelyn.
Well,
Is it Sandra? Miss Sandra Keith. Please go ahead.
Okay, well, after Ellen's eloquent presentation, I'm not sure that I can add much to that. I can say that I've only been here a couple of years. My daughter said, Mother, we're moving to Oak Harbor. So I'm here, and this is a public pool, so I want to be part of the public.
Yes, ma'am.
The kids. However, the other day, I got so cold, my teeth were chattering. It not, my teeth were chattering. I got out in 20 minutes after I got home. I come in late because I can't do the whole hour, and they all know that I'm going to show. But I come here because this is why I'm here. I'm using this instead of a walker because I attribute it to this and my daughter being a parent. Okay. So, yes, I want this pool heated enough. And I see these ladies coming in here with their mothers in here, and they don't teach them over here. They teach those little ones right here with these steps. So they're over here in this side where the water's colder. So I think you need to think of that too. These kids are just about like this, about maybe 4 years old. So let's think about that as you talk about this temperature. Because guess what? these guys get too hot, let them get out, sit on outside for just a few minutes. Okay?
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you. Wait a minute.
Yes, ma'am. Go right ahead.
I guess the lady that this new man that has come here, she's told me she's going to go to Anacortes if the water doesn't change. Okay? And a lady comes up from Coupeville with her son, told me that yes, it's cold, and she understood that internationally that it's 84 degrees. So, and I don't know who did this inspection, or found out about what happens nationally. That's what she told me. Nationally, it's 84 degrees. Is that correct?
No.
Okay. Who is this speaking back here?
Coach, can we talk about this?
Hey,
Hey, guys, hey, everybody, please. Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's okay, brother. It's okay. No, you got my back. I appreciate it. No.
Nice compensation.
You know what? I think there you can find. I've never heard 84 as an international one. So I'm looking at my aquatics director. She's saying no. I know my coach is going to say no. He wants it 70. He wants it down in the high 70s like Federal Way. Trust me. But we won't do that. And even he's shaking his head no way. So that's good. We will talk about this. We'll get everybody's input here in a couple minutes. All right? And we want to find that happy balance. We want to make everybody happy. I'm sure all board members do.
I'm sorry.
No,
I apologize.
you don't have to. No. Does the board have anything else? Any comments further? Okay. Anything else from Ms. Sander before I move on? All right. Yeah, thank you, ma'am. All right, that closes out public comments unless there's any old by the ways. All right, we'll move on to minutes approval. Could I get a motion to approve the minutes before we discuss them?
I would make a motion, please, to approve the minutes from Thursday, December 18th, 2014.
I have a motion from Commissioner Hoffmeyer to approve the minutes. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, although I think it's extremely funny. Promptly thrown under the bus by the acting chair. I don't know that thrown under the chair or under the bus needs to be part of our official minutes. I think it's extremely funny.
Does it matter?
He was probably thrown under the bus by the
Well-
acting chair and directed to take minutes for this meeting.
I think you actually did say that.
I think I did.
Yes, he did.
You did.
So, okay, I guess it stays.
If you want the minutes written in a different tenor or
No,
pace, remember that I didn't want to do the job, so I'm always up for suggestions. Someone else wants the job.
There you go.
But while we're discussing it, I must say that these are very copious notes.
I say, why say with 5 words what you can say with 25? That's always been my rule.
Good job.
The chair would like to point out, in his own defense, that there is a definite change in font between the rest of the minutes and the board issues, but I think it's fine the way it is.
That was because I couldn't remember what the open government training, I had OPM written there, and I had to call Wendy and find out, so it was written after.
Is that Wendy Singleton?
Yeah. Sorry. I
Do I
called
get-
Commissioner
Do I get
Singleton.
do I get two votes now?
Yes, you may.
What?
So we need to change Wendy's name to Shingleton.
Oh.
S.
Oh my God. Okay. Yeah.
Then?
Well, I'm so sorry. I can't believe I did
Okay,
that.
it's fine. Oh, and there's another one on the approval.
I'll do a search and make those changes. Or,
Sweet. I corrected a few things for you.
okay.
Like Hoffmeyer spelled her really interestingly.
No way. Isn't that the way it's spelled?
I corrected it.
Well, how did I spell it?
HOFFMEYE, right? The original way. So that was a Decker talking perhaps?
Okay, Mai Tais, hello. I was in Hawaii.
Close enough.
Okay. Do a search for Singleton then and get that changed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other changes, deletions, or additions to the minutes or further discussion? All in favor of passing or accepting the minutes as written with the changes?
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Expense vouchers and payroll. Could I get a motion on these before we discuss them?
Sorry, I'm looking for how you say it.
All right, I'm going to try this if I correctly do it wrong. I move that, Mr. Chair, I move that we approve district vouchers 6513 to 6545 and transfer from M&O account to payroll account in the amount of $39,240.56.
I have a motion to approve district vouchers 6513 to 6545 for the amount of $29,513.37.
Wait here. Sorry.
And the
You said the wrong amount.
approval,
No,
no I didn't.
I missed that.
And the M&O account to payroll account of $39,240.56. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion. I do. I have a question. I know Matt's not here. I know it's only $64.86, and I know it's just a porta potty. However, it's the attention to detail. Did we find out about the porta potty? And what's the...
The consensus on the porta potty is the porta potty was a 2-for-1 deal, one left at the dog park and one left at the baseball field. Should we remove the one from the baseball field to be able to put it back in the summer, the cost is double what we are paying now.
So in other words, we pay to maintain the one at the dog park. We have to keep the other one at the...
We received the lower price, which we are receiving now, and I did ask Matt to research it, and he said that's pretty much the way it is. If we want to keep the price low, we need to not poke the bear.
Got it. Okay, that answers my question. Thank you.
Are you going to put that in there?
Poke the bear.
I'm writing.
No, about poking the bear.
I know. I'm writing. I write down what I hear.
Does that go into the minutes?
People say it, I can write it.
What was it on secretary? Have it everyone goes in.
That's right. I'm not that fast a writer, though.
I have questions about I have random questions about the visa bills. Just some of it might just be my understanding. Do we buy swimsuits for? Do we pay for swimsuits for?
No.
Okay, so what's up? So we have.
What page are you on with?
I'm on. Sorry. It's actually Erica's bill, page 3 of 4, and it says a swimsuit for Michelle Reedy.
This stems from an old agreement that she had with a previous director that they would purchase one swimsuit for her because it's required as part of her work uniform per year, I believe it is.
Does anyone else receive that same?
My swim
Benefits?
lessons instructors, they do get the rash guard that's provided by us. Of course, if they terminate their employment before they wear out the shirt, that's revert back to us. And the lifeguard insurance as well, they are provided a uniform by the district. So this was an agreement that she had previously worked under.
And there's no specialization to the rash guard. I've worked at places before. The reason I ask the question is I've worked at places before where I had it taken out of my first paycheck for a uniform. So I suppose I haven't had a lot of jobs where I had a uniform. So I don't know if this is still going on.
And that would be something that you guys may want to look at again if
Okay.
you'd like to change that.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
So is she the only one that gets a swimming suit from us?
Yes.
How much are the rash guards each?
$19.80.
Okay, thank you. I just comparatively.
What is a rash?
The ones they're
It's,
using
uh,
now,
it's, uh,
they're lasting longer than that first time.
Thank you.
They are, if I buy the 100% polyester one.
A referential.
Very nice. But the company that I'm ordering from, they want to
Okay.
order
Oh,
So you wear it for picture things. If you were in Hawaii.
okay.
Say,
Yeah, it's at Revenant, not there.
Thank you.
What was your question, Steve?
I had asked about the rash guards, if they were holding up. Remember the first ones we bought back timeline when the Schraders were here, so for
Yeah.
example, that they didn't hold up very well. And I was just asking if the new ones were holding up better.
We found once we went with the 100% polyester rash guard, which is a little bit more expensive, but it does last longer and hold up far better than the others do.
Yeah, okay.
How long are they lasting?
Right now, I still have, I think I put in an order about this time last year for some of the polyester ones, and I still have some that are still on the instructions that are looking fairly decent. They're all wearing out their lifer ones right now.
Yeah. May I ask a question?
Yes.
Thinking about those rash guards, for example, you know, the machines where you put the swimsuit in, it spins it, it's dry like immediately. If we ever looked at, I mean, because my thought was that, like the rash guards that the kids get, if they wash them out immediately, they you get that chlorine out of it.
They last long.
They last longer. And the thought was they could rinse it out and they could put it in one of those spin. I don't know. They may be way too expensive, but then I thought, well,
They're several hundred to over $1,000.
oh, are they? Okay. I was just curious more than anything.
Well,
Sure, go right ahead.
They do have them that are handgun, right, that are not so expensive. And how much is that? Because I know I've heard a lot of different people that would be willing to put money toward purchasing something like that. The ones that come regularly all the time.
I haven't looked into the hand crank one because if I'm going to let teenagers lose on something hand cranked, it might be.
Could you take a look? Can I ask her to do something like this? Okay, I make a motion that we ask.
You don't have to make a motion.
Oh,
You can ask Eric.
I would like to know at the next meeting, tell us, here's what I would recommend, because most places I've swam at that have lots of people that come in and swim, they have such a thing. And I've thought about, you know what, I'll sign up and buy one, because I hate taking a wet swimsuit home with me. And it's also, you know, it's just annoying and it doesn't get, so we should have one for, and I know that there's issues with maintenance possibly, so we want one that's not going to break down easily, but we don't need the high-end one, but a hand crank is probably not a good idea. So, yes.
At the same time, though, in conjunction with that, can we look at what our actual, like, over a year, our costs are for uniforms? Okay. I mean, I think it's just so we are aware, we understand, and then we determine whether or not we need to make changes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
right.
I've never been in a place where they had one before, but the people that come from out of state
Yeah.
that have, they think they're best thing going.
Absolutely. No.
Any further questions on the vouchers and payroll?
Yes, actually. So the haunted swamp stuff, just questions about that. Is that all reusable stuff, or was some of that consumable? Okay.
First was reusable, mine was more consumables, a little bit.
How many folks did we have at that, or what was our revenue for that event?
Less than what we expended.
I will have to get you the exact number. I know that it was comparable to 2013's, which we thought was decent considering it was Halloween night and there were so many other activities going on. But I think
Okay. I know I would really like to start looking at, so that we can kind of start weighing out and just understanding, are we making money, are we losing money? What, for example, or what's a break-even attendance number for something like that, and what did we actually have? Not that, I know that you all have additional duties right now, so I'm not trying to yet overfill your overfilled plate,
if
but
you actually look back to the attendance numbers for October,
Okay.
it'll be under special events. So
Okay.
this would have been,
okay, and then, but then if I'm going to apply that to a financial calculation of some sort, how much would it cost to get in?
I'll get it for you.
Okay, thank you.
Am I allowed to ask a question from out here?
We try to limit that.
Okay.
We try to limit that.
I'm going to ask.
Okay, I tell you what, Ms. Sandra, can you please go ahead and ask your question?
I'm serious.
No, we want to hear what it is.
I worked for the government for years. I'm really not stupid.
No, ma'am, I didn't say you were. No.
These concession, the Costco bus delivery concessions, are $724. Is this, who is the procurement officer here that would the procurement officer have talked to several different other agencies besides hospital before they were out this considerable amount?
Yeah.
Well, I think we're going to
Okay.
Yes, please.
I do routinely review other places, other sources to get stuff.
Oh,
Sometimes if something's cheaper elsewhere, I will search it
Oh, right.
elsewhere, like our service concessions, for example. Oftentimes, if it's on sale at a grocery store, it's cheaper to purchase it there. So then I will go and purchase from
Well,
other
just like this
sources.
is speak Costco, we're speaking somebody coming to a different location. And, you know, if we could purchase it locally, that was my main reason for the question.
I do purchase locally for some things, but like when we have the fresh fruits and stuff, I do purchase them.
Okay, so this was a necessary expense. Okay, thank you.
I just have one more question. Thank you. I just have one more question. I just am unaware of, so perhaps I just want to say it out loud because the name makes me laugh, but what's the Badger Hotel?
that was one of the coach candidates.
Okay, sorry.
That was his last name. Actually, I apologize, that was not his last name. Thank you. That was, yes.
I'm so sorry.
He actually was from Wisconsin.
It piqued my curiosity. I really needed to know that. Okay.
That's awesome.
He was bad.
I
Any further questions on the district vouchers or M&O account? All in favor of accepting the district vouchers 6513 to 6545 for the amount of $29,513.37 and the M&O account for $39,240.56. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Staff reports. First off, I would like to thank the staff for the extra work they've been doing lately. Appreciate it. Director's report.
I forgot to change the page number, I'm sorry.
Okay, we'll start with Coach Taylor's report. Coach?
You want me to read it?
No, no, that's okay. We got that part. Coach, thanks. It's been a positive couple of weeks. You had a meet. Did you put anything in here about the meet? I didn't see that. Had a meet in Anacortes? Coach?
Yes, we did.
And how we do?
So the meeting in Anacortes was, well, it was more of a get acquainted session than anything for me, because I've never seen swimmers here compete. Looking down through the meet results, though, I did notice a lot of best times, which I was happy to see. Even from some older swimmers who don't normally get best times this time of year. So I was happy about that. But as the report suggests, I rolled in January 2nd. My primary focus this first couple of weeks has been to learn my swimmers and try to recover from past difficulties, like a roster, things like that.
I know I've heard a lot of positive comments about from parents and from actual swimmers, so thank you. Anything from the rest of the board? Coach?
I would like to ask the coach a couple questions on the practice schedule as far as how you've broken the groups down. If maybe you can kind of explain a little bit. You know how you've restructured the practice groups? If you
I
can,
haven't restructured the practice groups yet. I hope to.
well, you're proposing it possibly because it's on the website. So I'm just kind of wondering if you could kind of share.
Saying, all I did was modify some names. I haven't changed any practice times.
There's a mistake in the last paragraph. I think is that speaking to off-season
Well-
teams?
Hold on.
Yeah, I'm trying to communicate.
I haven't implemented any changes yet other than changes of names.
Okay, all right, that's fine.
names
To
as in,
my knowledge, we're doing the exact same thing we've been doing.
so when we're talking about names, are we talking about the groups Or levels? Okay. Can we know, sorry, I'm unaware of this, and maybe I just need to check our website more often. However, what did we change?
Alright.
What did we change?
Oh, we
The name.
changed novice and bronze to wigglefish 1 and 2. Pretty minor thing. They're the same groups. We promoted some swimmers to groups. That's normal club business.
Well, I'm not questioning you. I'm just trying to get a grasp of what.
I'm answering. Okay, I don't understand the question. We haven't implemented any changes yet other than some names.
Pull back, Turbo.
Okay.
Yeah, it's okay. Good. Go ahead.
Okay.
Thank you. Things like that are great. The wigglefish is good for me to know just so that I'm using the right terminology.
Sure.
Right? It just helps us know where we're, what the programs are since I'm not here when they're practicing. So thank you.
Thanks, Coach. Anything else? Sue? Nope. North Woodby Fitness Club's on hiatus, so we can fly right past that one. Aerobics. I saw Michelle earlier, but she's not here. She's playing volleyball. Good for her. I know aerobics are going well. Zumba instructor is still gone. She'll be back next month. She's gone for another couple weeks. So, aquatics program. Any questions for the aquatics program for our aquatics director?
How do our numbers compare to same time last year?
A little bit lower.
How much lower, if I may ask? Do we know?
Not an exact amount, no. It's not huge, but we are a little bit lower. And a lot of that is due to some of the changes that we have had with our temperature.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them have had to do with the deployment schedule.
Mm-hmm.
And I've also had a couple of parents who have come in to me and said they're kind of readjusting and then going to come back in the spring.
Okay.
When did the water temperature change?
It's been kind of inconsistent over the last couple of weeks especially.
Okay. I'd like to hold that discussion for later.
I know, but I just
Yes.
didn't think it had been, that long. Okay.
Any other questions? Emergency action plan.
I do have another NWAC question, if I may, please.
Go ahead.
I've just seen this, you passed this out later.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, on the, shows the numbers and everything. So I understood that Coach Carly left. Is that true, Coach? Or Erica?
Well, she's never coached since I've been here.
Okay,
so
thank
I
you.
would say yes.
Thank you.
She resigned, her last day was the 31st of December.
So are we down, Coach, are we down to yourself, Coach Colleen, and Coach Travis then? Is that?
Yes.
Okay,
Well, we have a coaching intern,
okay,
one of the swimmers.
okay. Could you, if you wouldn't mind, please, if you could tell me who's coaching which groups, the way it's set up right
Well,
now?
that, as a matter of fact, is a matter of discussion with me and my staff at this time.
Okay,
We just had our first staff meeting yesterday,
okay,
and we are cogitating upon that.
okay, all right. Thank you.
As it is, I'm coaching the junior and platinum, and Colleen is coaching the gold and prep, and Travis is coaching the silver, and Molly and I have been coaching Wigglefish 1 and 2. And that's sort of been inherited, and that's under review.
Okay. The swim meet is coming up February 7th and 8th, 8th and 9th, whichever it is, there in Bellingham. You guys are going to that?
We are, at this time, we have 28 entrants thus far.
Okay. If you don't mind me asking, please, you're going, right? Is it just yourself going up to the swim meet?
Probably.
Okay. Okay.
haven't addressed that yet, but probably.
Okay. Yeah, because, it gets into hourly employees going to swim meets and stuff, with the numbers we're at, and so.
You said platinum, is that after goals?
Yes.
I have not heard of platinum.
Was senior, I think,
Ah,
just some different terminology.
Any questions about facilities and maintenance?
Thank you.
I'm
Hey, Michael, guys. I like to see you.
All right. If there are no other questions about the director's notes, I am going to read the Employee of the Month nomination for Micah Geist. As a lifeguard and swim instructor, Micah works hard to meet our goal of providing a fun, safe learning environment for our swimmers and a safe, pleasant atmosphere for our customers. Micah is always willing to lend an extra hand when it's needed, often giving up personal time to do so. Over the last several months, Micah has offered up to help set up and clean up after special events, often being one of the first to show up and the last to leave. Several times when others have opted out of helping, Micah stepped forward to make sure tables are set up for meetings, heavy boxes are carried in, shifts are covered, and help is offered where he can. Micah's sense of humor brings a smile to many in the workplace, and his strong work ethic is a definite asset to the district. Thank you for all you do, Micah. Do I have the... Thank you, ma'am. All right. Thank you. Thanks, Micah, for all of this. That's awesome.
It is.
All right. Unfinished business.
Real quick, if I may.
Sure.
Thank you, Julie, for putting this in here on the public hearing request, which allows us to keep tabs on that. Thank you very much.
We're doing a better job at getting this public
We
record
currently
discussed.
have two that were existing in December that I think the last little bits of information to complete.
Okay.
And then everything else has been received within the last week.
But we've been communicating with those people. Thank you very
And
much.
those two are partially delivered, correct? Okay.
Good. Excellent.
Thank you.
All right. Any other final comments on staff reports?
Yes.
Yes, Chief,
I
you
have
coach.
a hard time hearing back here, but any changes in the names of the groups are now posted on the team website. Just simply click on practice groups and they're all delineated there with some specific information. They're very minor. Nothing's really changed yet. Kind of looking at the schedule and thinking about some things, but nothing for now.
Thank you, by the way, for updating the website with the names of the coaches. I do appreciate that. It was nice to see.
More
Yeah,
to come.
it was nice. Thank you.
All right, I'm really moving on this time.
Okay, well,
Yeah, We'll get the budget. We'll get the budget.
but are we covering the kayak stuff in programs?
Oh.
Or where are we, or staff reports?
Voted last time.
Yeah, where are we, because I don't see it either, and that's, I was like, I think it's a staff report. No, it's not a staff report.
Should be unfinished.
We
Should have been under unfinished business. We'll make another additional change to the agenda and add under unfinished business the kayaks.
old business. That was always old business.
We can make it old if you'd like.
I'm not used to these newfangled terms, unfinished business, but I think old business, new business.
So old business, kayaks. Pete's here to answer any questions that the board may have. Pete, is there anything you'd like to say? Or?
Mainly, Erica said that you approved it, and I appreciate that, and thank you for approving it. It's been 3 or 4 directors who are kind of working on it, and it's just everything would fall through the crack, but I appreciate it. And the boats do need to be replaced. And I think I made a good choice, and I think Erica said there was maybe some questions about, did I research it, and was this the best price, and things like that. So what I can tell you is, mainly, that's the boat. And the boat would retail for about $1,300. And that company will give us those boats for $844. And that's not unusual for any. I could find other kayak companies that would give you a similar price. But then he's given us another 5% off when we buy 10 boats or more.
So then there's another 5, which is all that was in the memo that you guys got a copy of. And I've worked with them now, this will be the 3rd time at least, because I bought boats through the Navy, where I work also. Just bought a new fleet of whitewater boats from them, and before that we bought some whitewater boats some years past. So it's be the 3rd time. He's in Bellingham. There'll be almost no shipping charges at all because I'll be able to take the empty trailer up there and pick it up, just like I picked up the boats from the Navy this fall, for the Navy this fall. So all in all, I think it's a good boat to go with. And you know, if you guys have any other questions of me, that'd be. And I guess the other thing, you know, it does say it all in the memo, but just to reiterate, the prices I put on there to sell those boats for, I'm very confident I can get that amount. Like it says, I think 800 or 900, 900 for that Gulfstream. That boat is a fiberglass boat that would retail for over $3,000.
My only question about this is my only question about the disposition of the old boats is I'm not sure what the requirements are, and because we are a public entity, I'm not sure. I believe we actually have to auction them, or there may be another process. But I just want to be sure that however we disposition them, that we do it correctly.
Please.
And so I think it's one of those, I wanted to bring it up. I don't know the answer, but
I got an idea.
okay.
I got an idea. We've got to call Sheila anyway
Okay.
about the thing that Lynn was raising her hand about.
Okay.
So, which we will address. But, so what we'll do is we will make that a question
Okay.
when we get Sheila up here, because what we're going to do is get Sheila.
And other directors said that might, you know, they had questions about that. Maybe
Okay,
that's why-
so let's not sell the boats, Pete, until we talk to Sheila at the county, because she's going to know.
And my desire, which you guys approved, I believe, is that I can buy them now, but as I said in the memo, I'll clean them up and prepare them for sale, and then hopefully in spring. And if it needs to be an auction, I mean, I didn't really participate in it as in have much to do with it, but we did the same thing at the Navy base a year or so ago. They auctioned off a bunch of boats that I had used and didn't need anymore, and they went to auction.
We'll figure it out. I just want to be sure we did it the right way.
So hold off on selling those until we get a chance to run that down through the county auditor.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay? Any other questions?
Nice boat.
Very nice.
Yeah.
All right, I think that's all, and we'll go on to the rest of the older unfinished business.
Oh, damn.
So the fact-finding investigation. Can we talk about that in public, or do we need to, because it goes to,
Litigation,
well, no, I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about
personnel.
findings, yeah, the findings that are against the
Yeah, I think we need
executive session. How long do we need, ladies?
15? This is just your discussion.
Not really, but,
Oh,
10?
no, I think it's at least,
15.
at least.
So we can always go longer, we can't go under.
Right.
So we will go into executive session at 7:52, and we'll be in executive session for 15 minutes.
do you know the RCW were going into executive session under? For? You said last time you were gonna cite it.
Yes, I did. Do you have your open public meetings folder with you?
No, I think actually, give me a second. I might have brought
Because
that.
I didn't bring my iPad.
We can look it up, that's for sure. We need, you know what, we need a laptop.
We don't, yeah, we need a lot of things.
Hold
But,
on, yeah.
Hey, we have a gavel.
Give me a second. Let's see, executive sessions.
thanks, sir.
There you go.
RCW 42.30-110, paragraph
Let me say it again. RCW
42.30-110,
110.
F,
42.30-110, F,
F.
negative.
No.
Oh, yeah, employee. There it is. Okay. Thank you.
thank you very much. If 15 minutes, yes. It will be, if we go longer, ma'am, we will come and tell you that it's going on. Or they It is up to you.
It's a good thing, right? Aren't we all? We'll call the meeting back to order at 8:17, Thursday evening.
Where's,
Steve recused himself.
okay.
After over 2 months of investigation and by 2 commissioners and referencing Honduras, but they're not referencing, but using them as a guide, which is what we pay them for. We have findings of the investigation. There were no substantial findings, there were no findings that could be substantiated in the investigation. However, there are some recommendations that would benefit the district and those we serve moving forward. They are as follows. Sensitivity training for all district employees and commissioners by equal opportunity, by the end of, April 2015. Review and update the employee manual in 2015. Publish criteria for all levels of NWAC. Ensure that employee feedback is being given in a timely manner. Ensure that all employees review employee handbook annually. That is all. Those are the recommendations of the board. The 2 people that did the investigation. There was no decision made. We didn't make it. There was no movement to recognize that decision or anything else yet. I'm reading the end results of the finding. So if we do anything further, then we have to make a motion. That's correct. Those are the findings of the committee. To clarify that, those are the findings of the committee. The board has not made a motion or made a decision as pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act.
Thanks for the clarification.
It's over there. I got it. So, looking at the recommendations of the commission, do I have a motion before there's any discussion?
Be opposed to me speaking as Ali's father.
Right now I do because there's not even a motion on the board. Yes.
I move that we accept the recommendations of the fact-finding committee, subcommittee.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion from the commission, from the board. Discussion from Al's father.
I am Ali Hoffman's dad. First and foremost, that's who I am. I have wondered how I can balance this whole thing, and I have decided I can do it very well. I promise you I will be ethical when it comes to how I approach this situation. But I implore you as Ali's dad, not to close this investigation, but actually to widen the investigation, to include comments that Colleen Brannigan made against my daughter, which are in fact false. Ali is a slipper for NWAC. If you want me to go into detail, I can. I've been told by a board member what she said, not only verbally, but in writing, accusing my daughter of something. And I know for a fact it's not true. If you want me to elaborate, I can. I don't mind. It's up to you. But I would implore you to consider that, because going forward, see, the thing is, when we started this investigation, this goes all the way back to August, an August time frame. And at that time, some things had happened. And we went to the director at the time. The director, and I can show you his email, he didn't want to take care of it. Matter of fact, what he said is he would only investigate it because I wanted him to. That's not why you investigate something. You do it because it's the right thing to do, not because someone wants you to do it.
And if you remember correctly, at our, I believe it was October meeting.
May I finish as his parent, please? As her parent, please. I'm asking that.
If
So,
you,
I'm asking if I can finish, please.
as long as you are sensitive to the time, please.
No, stop.
Go ahead, Steve.
Thank you. So during this investigation, we wanted it to be about Ally's and employees of the district. That's all we asked for. Okay? And what we hoped for at the time was exactly what you recommended. But during this investigation, Colleen Brannigan did something that was actually pretty predictable. And that was...
Okay, stop. Stop. Okay, if you're going to make an allegation against an employee,
Okay.
it can't be done in an open public meeting unless the employee's here and says it's okay. And that's why I'm stopping you.
Okay.
Okay? So you've named an employee, and to further that allegation, that employee has to be here
That's fine.
and say it's okay to make that allegation in public.
That's
Not
fine.
an allegation.
Okay, stop.
That's fine.
Stop.
That's fine.
It's a matter
Stop.
of-
Shane. Shane. You're done.
Please stop.
Okay?
Thank you.
I don't make the laws, I don't interpret them. So thank
I
you.
just asked you,
We're not done.
no.
Stop.
I asked you to do the right thing, and that is to broaden this investigation to include a false allegation against my child, because it's not true. And I'll tell you what.
Okay?
Like
Okay?
you said,
Okay.
I think we should just give them the opportunity to do that. That's a separate charge.
Yep.
But you should be
Yep.
looking at a different time.
Which we are more than happy to hear. So,
Why don't you guys tell Alex what you're doing?
No, stop. Stop.
so I've got a motion. Any further discussion from the board?
Well, this is really a difficult thing. I don't think it's so much discussion, but what I think I would like to be understood is we did talk to a variety of people, and we had a variety of conflicting information, which is why we say that it was unsubstantiated. And so I'll just give them a
Patty, excuse me. Thank you very much.
But we did talk to a variety of people, and the reason why we say it is unsubstantiated is because we had conflicting information from different people. And therefore that's why, because many of the things that were said were opinions, and therefore we couldn't draw a complete conclusion. And that's how we arrived at making recommendations that we think will improve the district.
Mr. Merrill, I totally understand that. When it comes to the investigation as Ally Hoffmeyer as an employee, I understand that it can't be substantiated. But what can be substantiated is a letter that she wrote to the board.
Thank you, Steve. Okay. Thank you. All in favor of accepting the recommendations of the investigation? Aye. Motion passes. Now, I owe an apology from the chair to the two ladies that stuck around. We were supposed to move the pool temperature to the first, and I failed to do that. Ladies, I'm sorry. Thank you for sticking around for after that. So we will now move on to pool temperature discussion. So, next order of business is, actually we're still on unfinished business. I did not move that around. Director search. Next unfinished business is the director search. There's a committee of Commissioner Hoffmeyer, Commissioner Shingleton to look for an interim director. Do we have any progress on the interim director?
So, unfortunately, I wasn't able to attend the, it just so happens that the Chamber of Commerce meeting is the very same day as our regular meeting. So, of course, I was out of town for that. However, I think it is my understanding we have not received any applicants for the position.
We have two for the regular director position.
Okay, but for the interim director, we have received none. And so I believe that, sorry, I'm just trying to gather my thoughts. I believe that I would like to propose something, if I may, as it relates to that. Okay, well, I would like to, let's see, again, gather my thoughts. I move that we appoint Eric Miller to the position of interim director effective immediately. Erica Miller.
Okay.
The terms of this appointment will be that her salary will be augmented to the pre-existing director position. She will retain the position of aquatic director, but will delegate duties to her staff as possible. And the duties of director will be, that she will take on would be to be determined. The status of this appointment would be reviewed at our April meeting.
Second.
I have a second discussion.
So if this happens to surprise anyone, I think in looking at, I believe that we were well-intentioned in wanting to try to look for two separate entities or people to do an interim director and a director position. But I believe that we're in a position where we need someone in an authoritative position now. We need someone who's empowered to make decisions now. And so for many reasons, including the best interest of the pool, and so that we are not put into any compromising positions and asked or looking to do things that we have someone to go to. Let's put it that way. So that we have someone to go to. I believe that she is the most qualified person that we have. I believe that her years of experience we would benefit greatly from that in that position. But I do believe that she also should retain her aquatics director position, and the expectation would be that she returns to that once a permanent director is hired.
Further discussion.
We do need somebody to be in charge. Somebody has to be in charge.
I think something to consider with this, after talking to Erica a little bit, correct me if I'm wrong, I think she would like some help, I think, with some of the budgeting, which brings us to that thought, and we can talk about that later, looking to bring an accountant or somebody in to kind of help with that, over the books. Yes. Thank you.
Eric, I have a question for you.
Absolutely.
It's actually, I have more than one. First, what are your strengths and weaknesses as taking over as an interim director?
The strengths are definitely that I do know the district probably better than a lot of people that are currently on staff. I know the staff. I know a lot of their strengths and weaknesses as well, and I think that we can all work together as a team to make this place continue to move forward while we're doing our director search. I'd say probably some of my weaknesses would be I need to sometimes delegate a little bit more than I should, so I'll be working on that.
How do you feel about RCWs, your strength in the RCWs and the budgeting process?
I need to review the RCWs more thoroughly in order to become more familiar with them. All of it. I have the book on my desk. So it'll be my good friend for a while.
Any further questions or comments? Thank you very much. Any further questions or comments?
Should I amend the motion to include Steve's suggestion, or do we want to handle that separately?
That's totally up to you.
Okay.
I noticed that there's $2,000 in our budget for an accountant that it wasn't being used or hadn't been used, like in all of 2014. So apparently, somewhere along the line, we thought we needed an accountant, but we forgot that we had the money for one.
And we can talk about that in the unfinished business during the finance meeting if you'd like.
Okay.
We can table that to then, or we can add it to this motion. That is up to you.
I'm just saying that it's like the money's in the budget for it, so.
Okay. Any other further comments?
In terms of actual responsibilities, I think it would make sense for her, since we know that, for example, Julie and Joanne are doing some things right now that they need to determine who should be doing what, that she wouldn't necessarily take over all the responsibilities of the director, but that she would, that they would determine what makes the most sense. Since she,
Exactly.
is that, okay.
I mean, there are some things that Julie and Joanne do currently that I think that Julie and Joanne should continue to do. And free me up to take care of some things that aren't.
Have we looked at the employee handbook on what it says about this? It probably doesn't even say a darn thing, which is part of the problem.
It doesn't say, you mean in terms of the description of the director or an interim director? There
is nothing about an interim director, which is a problem with the employee handbook.
Right.
So,
In terms of division of responsibilities, it really doesn't say anything about that.
So my question is, does this need to be a resolution or a motion?
what's the difference?
A resolution, we would be amending the employee handbook to create a position.
No, because it's only going to be temporary.
But the employee handbook and the bylaws are what we're governed by, so that's my concern.
And
So
following.
here's what we'll do. My suggestion, you all vote on it, is that you amend your motion to make this temporary move after we talk to, in conjunction with talking to Nathan,
The lawyer.
to make sure that what we're doing, we can do.
Sure.
And make that the first detail maybe of
Sure, so it's
entry.
contingent upon
Yes.
attorney review and approval.
Thank you. That would be great. So, did you want to amend that?
Okay, yes.
On the 2002, on the previous employee handbook before this,
Mm-hmm.
the actual delegation of the director's backup, so to speak, somebody who would act as interim, was actually given to the aquatic director. We haven't had an actual aquatic director job description since that time.
Okay.
So
So, do you want to amend that motion then?
Yes, I will. Do I state the entire motion again, or do I simply move to amend it to?
You can just move to amend it.
Okay. All right, I then move to amend my motion to add or to append with contingent upon attorney review and approval of the position.
Do we have a second on the amendment?
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion or comment? No further discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I abstain.
Have Commissioner Hall, aye. Commissioner Shingleton, aye. Commissioner Hoffmeyer abstains. Next, unfinished business.
Assuming it passes.
It does pass. Thank you. The motion passes. Thank you. Next, unfinished or old business is the 2015 meeting schedule. 2015 meeting schedule, and this needs to be written out as a resolution. And so it will be added to unfinished business for next month, but the dates are as follows, unless there's discussion. February, it will all be the third Thursday of each month. February 19th, March 19th, April 16th, May 21st, June 18th, July 16th, August 20th, September 17th, October 15th, November 19th, and December 17th of this year. Ms. Julie, I will need a Word version of our resolutions. I cannot change the PDF, which is why we do not have a resolution tonight. Yes, ma'am. I'm getting to them right now. Any discussion on the dates for the remainder of this year?
Nope.
All right. Moving forward to new business. Pool temperature. You ladies stuck around for this. I apologize again. Pool temperature. It's been an ongoing issue for the past 6 months. I know we've had fluctuations anywhere between 84 to 81. And the big discussion prior to this meeting months ago was between 82 and 83. And there was never motion made or decision made on how to direct the pool to go forward. It seems like that's still the big discussion. So, I'll start with Coach back there. Coach, what do you got?
Well, there's an old saying that you shouldn't put words in someone else's mouth because that's not sanitary. And I've heard things said this evening attributable to me, which were news to me. I have never once suggested that the pool temperature here be maintained at 81 degrees. It's not my intention to have the pool temperature here maintained at 81 degrees. And anyone who suggests that I have said,
What would you like to see it at, Coach?
I see that 82, the compromise is simple.
82?
You were right that most pools for competition in last swimming is 79 or 80. You are correct that probably elderly aerobics people would like it around 84, maybe 85 in that area. I have negotiated firmly for 82 from the day I rolled into town. I will negotiate firmly for 82 to the day they put me in the grave. And 82 is the number that I want. I have never said any number otherwise.
Okay.
Anyone who attempts to suggest...
Okay, Coach. Got it. Got it. 82 by the coach. Erica.
I am with Coach in many aspects, taking into consideration also that we do have the elderly people that do need to have the water
And the kids.
warmer, and our little kids that need swim lessons a little bit warmer. So, I mean, it's possible conversation with Matt as to whether there are, with our swim lessons, whether there are days that he might be able to turn it on a little bit in the evening so it's warmer than next day for the lessons. I'm not sure. I haven't had that conversation with him. I know that 200,000 gallons of water takes a long time to go up a degree.
Right.
24 hours plus.
And it takes a long time to go down.
And it takes a long time to go down a degree. I would say that probably a really good compromise is anywhere between the 82 and 83 degree area. I would say no more than 83, just because I don't want to clean up what happens when swimmers get overheated.
Okay.
This discussion happened when Director Walker was here. There was a petition signed by a group of people. I want to think that there were probably 100 names on that at one time. And at that time, I think the compromise, the thought was 83 degrees. You know, I think the competition pools are 78 to 82. Is that about right?
Well, no, they're 78 to 80.
Yeah. And I think aerobics look at 85. That's what we've been told anyway. That's what it was at that time. And the reason that we didn't go to 83 at the time had to do with money. That's all that had to do with, because I think most of us were on board with the compromise. But what it came down to was the extra money that it was going to cost to raise it that degree. The older gentleman that fell yesterday, the very first thing he said, which was really odd, said, "Is your head okay?" He said, "Yes, I'm cold. The pool was cold today." And I thought, wow, that was on his mind. And it really is on the mind of the elderly people. And we can't just ignore that, because they have the right to this pool as much as our kids do.
Someday you'll be there, honey.
I believe that. And, I still really wonder about the compromise being 83, to be honest. That's what Anacortes is. Not to say we're Anacortes, but then it comes back to that money thing still.
Can I help the cat? Can I interrupt?
Yes, you may, please.
Thanks, sir. I will let the cat out of the bag. And Matt took the temperature up to 82. And for 2 months, everybody was happy. So here's what I'd like to see. At 82. No, we took it up to 82 and were able to maintain it for 2 months. 2 months, we had no complaints from the aerobics folks, no complaints from lap swimmers, and as a matter of fact, we had compliments from the aerobics folks and some of the younger parents that do the infant swimming thing, and they said, "Oh, you've raised the pool temperature, it's great." And Matt was smiling, doing the Cheshire cat grin, because it was 82 and he hadn't raised the temperature, but he was like, yep, we raised the temperature just for you. So he did that really well, and everybody was happy. Now, I can't make a motion, but 82 seemed to have worked, and we could always do that for a little bit and then come back and revisit this in 2 months. But no matter what we do, the motion needs to come from the board.
Well,
So-
just in terms of further discussion,
Yes.
perhaps I misunderstood, because I was told about this issue, and we have just, we currently have, and I believe that these are all fairly recent, we do have 8 patron comment forms already saying that the pool is too cold. So I feel like that's important to mention. But I believe that I heard that it actually has been 83 degrees recently. Is that accurate?
Off and on, it's been in.
Okay, so it's been perhaps, though, between 82 and 83
Since
degrees.
we reopened from the shutdown, it's really hovered more on the 83 end.
Really?
I
And it's still cold?
No, until quite
At 83,
recently.
I don't think we had more than maybe 3 or 4 onesie-twosie complaints.
Uh-huh.
And then this last couple weeks, it's been hovering more 81, 82.
Uh-huh.
And we've had more. Like, seriously, everybody comes out complaining.
Well, 2 degrees is huge.
It is really
2 degrees is huge.
I would never have believed until I started coming all the time that anyone could tell the difference in 1 degree.
Yeah.
But you can tell the difference in 1 degree in that pool, in your body comfort. And no matter what you set it at, it's still going to go up and down. And if you aim to set it at 82, I know there's going to be days it's only going to be 81 when they stick that thermometer in there. You know, at a given time of the day, let's say. But if you set it at 83, at 82, then it'll go down to 81 sometimes, you know, and then that gets really uncomfortable. So if it was truly 82 all the time, I think we would all just grit our teeth and work through it and not have to shiver for the whole hour.
Unfortunately, air temperature does have a lot to do with it.
Uh-huh.
The more that it's cold outside, and the heating drafts coming in and out of this building, it does cool the water. We do what we can to try and keep doors closed. Sometimes the air temperature on deck drops, which can affect how you're feeling in the water as well. So some days, I'll have everybody tell me it feels awesome and it's 82, and the next day they'll all tell me it's cold and it's 82, and the difference is actually the air temperature as well. So there are a lot of factors that determine how you feel comfort in the water.
Anything from the board?
I move that we set the temperature at 82.
I have a motion to set the pool temperature try to set and maintain the pool temperature?
Yes.
Set and maintain the pool temperature at 82. Do I have a second? Do I have a second? Motion dies for lack of a second.
I would like to, sorry, and maybe I should have, sorry. I would be fine with that, and I would, sorry, go ahead and, I get it.
I need a motion.
No one wanted it second. No one
Okay,
seconded.
well,
so-
I understand that. I move that we set the temperature set and maintain the temperature at 82 degrees, and in 1 month, reevaluate the comfort level of patrons.
So I have a motion to set and maintain the pool temperature at 82, and in 1 month reevaluate from the same folks if we can. Do I have a second?
Yes, second.
All right, further discussion.
I would like to ask a question. So going back to when Director Walker was here, at that time the temperature was at 82 degrees,
Mhm.
and it was maintained at 82 degrees. Are you telling me that it's not been 82 degrees over the past year and a half to 2 years?
No, because we've had a hard time. This goes back to the whole reason we did the study with Matt Foster, was to get the pool temperature. Remember, our computer's not interfacing.
But I'm asking,
with
has the target been 82 all this time?
the target has maintained at
That's my
82.
point. Yeah, okay.
Right.
Okay.
And this is endemic. That's a good point,
Okay,
Steve.
yeah.
This is endemic of the larger issue,
Okay.
that our computer and our heater are not talking and interfacing. So it is hard for us to maintain that constant temperature. We did an energy study with an outside agency, which had to do with a grant from the state. I think you ladies heard me talk about that earlier, which unfortunately we didn't get that grant, so we weren't able to fix the issue. And that's still going to be an issue. So there are going to be days where the pool temperature is going to dip below 82, and there are going to be days where the other factors, such as the ambient air temperature, is also going to play a factor. But we need to maybe take some solid records keeping for the next month on that too, if this motion passes. Coach?
Yes, I spoke with Matt this morning, and I asked him, because it's 84 right now. I asked him, what did you do? He said nothing.
And it changes that
It just
quickly.
went up
Yeah.
to 84.
Yeah. And you figure it takes a long time for that pool to, as Eric has said, that's a lot of gallons of water that have to change temperature, so it doesn't happen in a short
We tried to
period
put
of
the baby pool up and the juice over.
June. Okay, so that's going to happen. So some good thought for discussion. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Right.
Motion passes unanimously.
May I say one thing?
Sure.
Have you ladies ever considered like a rash guard? Like it's a shirt that you would wear over your bathing suits, made for the water, just to help with the.
Wear that.
I just wonder if you've ever considered that, and I don't know if there's a way if the pool buys them, if it's some kind of, if you get like a special rate or something like that. I don't
A
know.
lot of them involved, we have to sell them as a line item, and we have to sell
I
them.
don't know if you ladies would be interested in something like that. I mean, they really do help, to keep you warmer. And I'm just throwing that out there. You might consider it. I mean, they do really help.
It's like wetsuits when you dive.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, and if it's a case to where, maybe, like she said, maybe the pool. I mean, if it's something people would be interested in, or we could actually buy them, and people could maybe get them cheaper than you can get them on your own or something. I don't know. It's just a thought. But,
Here's what I'd like to, if sorry,
thank you.
You go locally, you have some place locally, suggest.
Erica, could you get that in? Yeah. Thank you. They really do help. They really do.
Ladies, can you, no, Sandra, can you please come back next month? Thank you. And Evelyn, will you also come back? Thank you very much, ladies.
And if I may, I just want to say I'm encouraged to see that you're active, and I think it's awesome. I just want you to know that. I thought I'd tell you that.
Erica, could you please instruct somebody to, over the next month, take daily temperatures and readings for us?
Anyway, but I'll double check that they're doing it very accurate.
Yeah, and then can we do it at least 2 to 3 times during the day?
You're going to do
4 times a day, that's awesome.
Oh, I want to say something.
Yes, ma'am. Go right ahead, Sandra.
Young people are doing, we like quite a job.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
They're doing it.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, next is the new business, is the finance meeting. As I alluded to earlier, we actually, and I say we tongue-in-cheek because it was actually Commissioner Shingleton has talked to the county auditor, Sheila, because we had some concerns about the budget, and she went down and ironed those out with her, and it was very helpful for both you and I, talking to Sheila. And what we want to do, especially now that we have an intern director and as we move forward towards finding a new director, I think that finance meeting needs to include Sheila. And she's willing to come up and help us with this. So as we go about setting that up, because to move forward, we need to get Sheila here. And I think we also had a suggestion to maybe look at getting an accountant here.
It's in the budget.
I know we've used, and quite frankly, we need to get that ironed out and straightened out.
So she's willing to come to the meeting on the 26th?
We can't do it on the 26th. We're going to need to give Sheila more time. So we need to postpone this, which is good because we now know who the players are for the most part. So can you please get with Sheila and find some time in the next 2 to 3 weeks was the language I was told. Ask her if she would be and when she would be available to come here for that meeting.
So I
We-
asked her for several times, and then you guys were...
Yeah, yes. And if she needs to do it down there, that's fine. We just need to make an open, we need more than 24 hours notice. And I'd preferably like to give at least 3 to 4 days notice, because if we're all there, we need to do an open public meeting announcement.
More is better if we're going to try to meet in the library, just because,
Well, we may have to meet down in Coopville.
and that's fine too, but
So-
Coopville Library also has a meeting room.
It does.
I will give her a call.
Please. Great person. So thank you.
Are you going to cancel? Yeah, I know that. You guys
Yes, I am.
Okay. And then you made a suggestion about an accountant.
All I said was, I noticed in the budget, when I was going over it with Erin, that I said, what's this $2,000 for an accountant? And she's like, because she was telling me she didn't know about something. And I said, I see there's $2,000 that's budgeted for an accountant. What is this for? And she said, I do not know. And I assumed, again, we all know what that means, but I assumed that it was something because our people are not trained accountants, that we actually budgeted it so that somebody could come in once a year and say, oh my God, you people are all going to jail. Or, good job, it's all good. So that's what I think is there.
The latter.
Yeah. So it's there for us to use, due to the fact that we don't have trained accountants working for us, that, to probably to finalize the end of year reports and make sure that everything is where it needs to be, and that we're not going to go to jail.
But since we have that money budgeted, it would be useful, I think if we look at it moving forward, it would be useful to use it consultatively or an audit to, once again, to ensure that we're in compliance with everything we need to be in compliance with.
Are we talking about auditors now?
No.
No, we're not talking about,
Just an accountant to come in and make sure our books look decent
Well, I mean,
and that...
yeah. Okay, so let me ask a question then. The money that's being freed up by not having a director for the last 2 months and possibly the next 3 months, what if we looked at, hiring an accountant, 20 hours a week or whatever it would take? So, hey, I was handed something just a second ago, and my goodness, it's alarming. Where the levy money, for example, $203,000, we've actually got it recorded twice, okay? Oops. It got recorded twice. Little things like that these ladies are doing the best job they can. They are inheriting something that the store has not been minded for quite some time.
right.
Yeah.
And we would all agree with that. We are in this perfect opportunity right now. We've talked about that reset button, right? To where we've got this money that's been freed up right now by not having a director, and to where we could bring somebody in who could actually go over these books with us and make sure we're doing this right. Because if we don't get this right now, oh my goodness.
It's just going to kick the can farther down. It's just going to get worse and worse.
And
and worse.
it's been brought up to us before, and it's the truth. We are on that line, and some may think we've passed that line of, there are legal ways to do this. And an accountant could come in and they could help square us away and maybe provide the training these ladies need to help them with their job. And instead of contracting it out for, hey, here's $2,000, come in. What about during this interim period where we don't have a director? So where we bring somebody in, and if it takes 20 hours a week, it takes 20 hours a week. But to get this thing right, and that's my thought.
So you're making a motion?
I would like to make a motion that we look at hiring an accountant to come in, as an employee of the Park District for 90 days, or 20 hours per week.
Can I get a second?
Wait a minute, I'm thinking.
Okay.
So it'd be half-time for 3 months, basically.
Yes.
And that would be paid for, hopefully, out of the...
So...
Oh, I'm sorry, you need...
Thank you
okay.
very much. So we have a motion out there. I need a second before we can discuss it.
I'll second it.
We have a second. Now we may discuss it. Your question, Ms. Donasu.
So it'll be paid for with the $2,000 that's already in the budget, plus the money that's left over from not having to, I guess it's the money that we don't have to pay the aquatics director because she's getting the director's salary. So it's her salary plus the $2,000 is what we have to get an accountant for half-time, 3 months. Is that enough to get a good accountant?
Thank you.
Or a decent accountant?
Can I make a suggestion right now?
Sure.
Okay, you guys won't be able to afford an accountant for that cost?
Seriously?
Yeah.
Help us out.
Yeah.
A good accountant that doesn't have questionable reputation or isn't affected is a minimum of $3.75 an hour.
Oh, shoot, forget that. I withdraw
But you know
that
what?
motion.
But hold on.
Okay.
There is a facility in Oak Harbor,
Yeah,
because it's QuickBooks that's used, right, for those ledgers.
yeah.
Okay, there is a facility in office here in Oak Harbor that actually offers a certification course for people to go into their facility and be trained on how to use, maintain, and know QuickBooks.
Okay.
That's what I would recommend is done for Julie.
Well, okay.
Instead of wasting the money on hiring a CPA to come in here, teach them how to do them right would be your better bet. Because then they know on day-to-day basis what they're doing, what they're inputting,
Okay.
and you don't have to pay the chunk of change to have somebody come and say, you screwed it all up, guess what, you get to work for the next 3 months to fix what you did the last 6 months.
My concern is that, go ahead.
Thank you, by the way.
I think
Yeah, thanks,
I
Ken.
think I would say that I think, first of all, the thing I didn't like about the motion was actually having somebody be an employee. I don't think that should be necessary. Additionally, I think it would behoove us to get some quotes from local folks. There are people who are reputable. There are good accountants in town, and I think us looking at the difference. Okay, and Erica is at least indicating that she could do that. Look and understand. Well, I think that augmenting the training is probably also a great idea. I think they serve. I think one serves a short-term goal, and the other one serves a longer-term goal. And if we can look at what our capacity is, because I personally believe, unless I misunderstand the benefits, but that having someone's eyes on it at present would be helpful to us. However, I don't know what the financial realities of that are.
I withdraw the motion immediately. Thank you, Patty, for your
The motion's been withdrawn.
And,
Any further motions?
Do we need a motion for her to investigate it?
Actually, no. I can ask you, and I'm allowed to ask you to get us 3 quotes to look at.
CPA costs.
And when you have 3 quotes, can you let us know? And what we'll do is we'll have a special meeting to make a decision on those quotes and on a finance meeting with different dates with Ms. Kreider from the county office. Thank you.
And can we also take into consideration the suggestion?
That's what I
Okay,
think, yes.
okay. I mean,
I agree.
kind of put it all on the table and understand what that means to us. Sorry.
Because that's not a decision, that's just saying, get us the information.
Mrs. Morris, can you please tell Erica later what you exactly said again? Thank you.
Yeah, facility.
All right.
Facility.
And can you have that back? Can you have that to the board? Just email it to all board members by the end of next week. Okay.
And I would also say that a qualified good CPA, just looking at our books, is not going to need 3 months, 20 hours.
You might be right.
They don't need that long, because I
Okay.
had
That's
a
fine.
CPA, I handed her a stack of crap like this and said, tell me what my tax liability is going to be if I sell my house, the rental property I've had for 20 years here. And she called me 2 hours later and said, well, here it is. So, they can.
Thank you.
They know what to look at.
And from the information we get from you, we'll call a special meeting to make a move forward, because it needs to be done sooner rather than later. Because as Steve said, there's no way within a period of 1 week we receive the same amount of money
I'll start on it.
twice. Thank you very much.
So, ladies, is that helpful to you? Do you have anything to contribute? Sorry, I know it's your meeting, sir. I'm sorry.
Well, I think the only thing I would say is that my concern is more mistakes like that with the levy thing being entered twice.
I think the day-to-day present, we're being very conscientious with it, so I think it's somebody that can come in and really review. And I know I would welcome the additional QuickBooks training. When I was doing my degree, I took QuickBooks courses, but that was 10 years ago, and the program has changed a lot since then.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Any further comments? You okay? Okay.
Sean, can I just add real quick? I think that might be because every year the books have been sent out to Jones County and you reconcile everything and send it back and or whatever. So there's always been that external review of the books, and I think that's what the airport. It may not happen last year because we didn't have anybody in charge.
Yep.
But that's why that's there. That's always happened.
So we've always sent it out to Jones.
Yeah, which doesn't necessarily have to be where you send it, but
Right.
it's gone out. Somebody that's what.
I know Kathy charges a lot.
Exactly.
I use her.
And why do we use it?
Thank you, Erica, for taking care of that. All right, commissioner position. All right. We have to fill Mr. McDougall's term. We had a month. We've received two letters of interest, one letter, one bullet statement of interest. In the past, we have opened this up for questions from the commission to the potential board members. So I'd like to do the same now. Yes, ma'am? You gave me that look.
Well, okay,
yes,
because
ma'am.
when we did it with mine, it was like we submitted them and then a month later it was the discussion so that the board members had time to review the people who had submitted stuff so we could read it. I haven't seen the stuff.
Right.
Okay.
It wasn't actually a month later, but, right. I'm not sure, yeah.
Or a week later.
I think we have a process breakdown just in that, and this is what happened before, is we weren't automatically sent the,
Okay.
which,
Okay. So do I have a motion then? Well, so-
are you feeling like you would like some more time?
I would
have no
like to make a
clue.
motion, I would like to make a motion right now that we interview the candidates that are here for the vacant commissioner position.
So I have a motion to interview the candidates here for the vacant commissioner position. Do I have a second?
Sure, second.
We have a second. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Motion passes unanimously. So we will now interview, we have two candidates, Mr. Richard Fort and Mr. Dave Smith. And Dave's here. Dave, thanks for coming.
Hello, Dave.
For those of you that don't know, this is Mr. Dave Smith. He has the letter here that is written. If anybody would like to ask Dave some questions.
Dave, what would be the big reason you would want to do this?
Interesting evening. I've been on the farmland before.
Yeah.
It's my community. That's the reason. It's my community. I need to participate.
And so I certainly read your experience, and I appreciate you providing the detailed information that you did. What do you think that you can contribute to what you've seen in terms of the board?
Sure. You're working well as a unit, and I appreciate that. I want to contribute on working on a relationship with the city and the district to expand through grants. I want to bring that to the table. I want to work on it because I think that we have a lot of potential here to expand this facility.
So strategic planning is important to you.
Facility safety, got a strong background in that. I've seen different situations that should not have happened. Risk management, bring that to the table. Thanks.
Thank you.
Do you have experience in grant writing, Dave?
in the past.
Okay,
It's been a couple of decades,
okay, there you go.
but we move forward with that.
I know you're not ready for questions.
No.
I know. So I apologize. No further questions from the board?
Were both of these people told that we were going to talk about it tonight, and they were advised to be here?
No. We don't, we've, in the past, to my knowledge, we've never advised people to come.
It's been on the agenda,
Yeah.
so.
Okay. I'm just saying. When
No,
I thought,
no, yeah, I-
'cause here's the deal.
upfront.
When I was looking at it, I thought you wouldn't want me to be there. And so I think it was either you or Gina when I typed in, they said, oh, no, you should come. It's like, okay. So I came, and that's one of the reasons why I was actually considered and voted on, because if I hadn't been there, I guess you'd have voted for the one person present, Vicky. And it's like, because the third person that had put in a paper didn't even get considered. And so, I don't know. I just think if you're not telling people, you should come to the meeting because we're going to ask you questions, because it is not implied anywhere.
Right.
Is this position number 4?
No, either she's 4 or I'm 4.
I'm 2, you're 4.
Yeah.
3. So 5. I would like to make a motion, please, to appoint Dave Smith to the vacant position, number 5 of the North Public Park and Rec District.
I have a motion to appoint Dave Smith to the open commission position. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion.
Just to your point, I agree with you in that I think it would probably be a better organizational decision to encourage people to attend. I agree with you. However, I would not say that additional people were not considered. We did not have the opportunity to question those people to find out more about them, but it doesn't mean that they weren't considered. So just to be clear.
Okay. I have no idea what was in your thoughts that day. I'm just guessing that people that didn't show up weren't considered. Because that was, I heard that.
And I just told you,
I know.
at least in my personal opinion, that was not the case.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
But it gives us an opportunity, I just want to be clear, it gives us an opportunity to find out a little bit more about the person.
It absolutely does.
And so if we have done a disservice by not doing it that way, it's unfortunate.
Definitely something we can do in the future.
I will dog you about it.
I figure you
I'm
will.
going to write that down.
Well, except hopefully no one else will resign, and so it'll all just be elected people next November. And we won't have this issue.
But I think the lesson of proactive communication, I think it makes sense. Because I think there are people who don't understand that anyone can come to this meeting.
Yes.
And that they are not only welcome to come to the meeting, but
But
encouraged.
encouraged.
Absolutely.
Yeah, come and we're going to ask you questions.
So,
Okay.
all in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Motion passes unanimously. I'd say congratulations, but I don't know if that's always the right word. We will have to go down to the Island County Auditor, Ms. Kreider again, and get the paperwork filled out. So after we get the minutes from this, we need to have the minutes from this to take down to Ms. Kreider.
Really?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I'm very glad you joined us, Dave.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you for stepping forward.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
The last thing on new business is the sidewalk outside.
All righty, so yesterday,
Yes, ma'am.
No, there's 2 things left.
Right.
Sidewalk and environmental markers.
What?
It's right there in small letters. Thank you very much. As just been pointed out, NWPRD Masters is first. Is there anybody staying for just the sidewalk outside?
Probably not.
Okay, NWPRD Masters.
So how do we do it, like, in terms of discussion? Well, I think prior to, I thought we were having our budget meeting on Monday, but nonetheless, I think it's time for us to have a discussion about what we think the future of the club is. And I don't know whether I need to then make a motion, but I think it's time for us to look at trying to think of the right term here, sorry I didn't write all this down, but something that's financially independent, a self-sustaining program. I know I've used that word in these meetings before, but I think it's time for us to look at it becoming a self-sustaining program. And I can certainly make a motion to that effect, but I feel like personally I feel like it's something that we need to consider, and I believe that it's a process.
So how do you want that? So may I ask a couple questions?
Sure.
You can make a motion, but if you make a motion that obviously, has to be, we move from that point on.
Absolutely.
Or you can suggest to the board that we start a process, collective process. So whichever you feel better doing, I don't want to coach. I shouldn't do that.
No, I know.
So,
and that's, I'm having difficulty, because
Yeah.
I want to do the right thing, because I believe that...
to make a motion would be putting parameters around it that you may not want to put, or you may want to put. I'm not sure. But I think by saying, hey, we should start this process and maybe set up something in the next month after the finance meeting, before the finance meeting, whichever you choose, to start looking at that and going forward and who you want to include in that. I think that might be the two ways that you can look at that.
May I ask a question?
Yes.
What would you think about, having a, lack of better words, kind of like just a session where we all where people get together, people in the community, people who are interested in the swim team, swim parents, because I know we've talked about this over the past 2 years, just, what we want the team to look like as a district, and to get them to buy in on some of this, with ideas, because ultimately, I don't want to put words like in your mouth, so stop me. If we were looking like going towards to where it wasn't a burden on the taxpayer, to where parents were going to have to pick some of that up and go with it, right? Then wouldn't it be great if we had their support and their fire and just, yes, I don't know.
I think it would be great if we had the entire community support, which includes swim families, and includes non-swim families,
Yes.
who contribute via their tax dollars. I think I'm a little bit stuck in the way to do it, but I do believe that a subcommittee of some sort should investigate. I think this is a suggestion, but investigate the opportunities. So whether or not for me, the part that I think is the most important is self-sustaining, but that could potentially be owned, for example, and I'm not trying to get into the details, I think that's what we all need to do together, but it could be owned by the district, it could be not owned by the district. And Steve had talked about, the parents shouldering a burden. It could be a fundraising group. It could be, there are lots of possible iterations of the future, and I think what I'm asking us to do is to explore those.
Okay. I'd like to, if you're open to a subcommittee, because that's what you said, I have two things to say.
Sure.
First off, if you're open to a subcommittee, I can definitely appoint one. That's my job. I would appoint a subcommittee of Wendy Shingleton and Steve Hoffmeyer.
I would ask that I not be on it.
Okay.
The reason, because it could compromise, not to go back to what I was
Understood.
myself
I
from,
volunteer.
but it really could compromise.
Okay. So I'd like a subcommittee of Donna Sue and Wendy to look into putting together different suggestions for way forward for a potential workshop or something in the future to decide more definitive action. The other thing I need to say,
Sure.
and it's been said a lot, and I want to make this clear, and I obviously have my own personal feelings.
Sure.
But one thing that has been said many times, and I think we need to remember, that NWAC is a program of the district.
Yes.
It is a program just like aquatics is,
Correct.
just like swim school is. All of those programs bring in money to include NWAC. And all of those programs take money. They need district money. So when we look at NWAC separately, we know it's one of the controversial programs that we have. But if we make a suggestion for NWAC, do we make that same suggestion for all the programs? So keep that in mind as you move forward as a committee, because they're truly, the difference between NWAC and the other programs may be a decimal point, and that's important. But remember, NWAC is a program. Just like swim school, just like aquatics and everything else. And I think sometimes we lose focus at that. If we look at our bylaws and the way we're set up, it is a program of the district.
It is a program of the district, which we know is mostly an anomaly compared to other programs and districts. And I'm not trying to be argumentative. To me, it's all factual and important. But I actually do believe that we should be looking at the financial health of all of the programs. I do believe that to be the case.
Okay.
I personally believe that, and understanding where we are with them, even if we accept them as they are. But I also believe that it's so the other side of the same coin, that it's a program just like all the other ones, is I believe that has to be on the other side of the coin, that has to be remembered as well, and that therefore it needs to have a relative position along with all the other programs and their priority.
Okay.
And looking at the community that we serve and ensuring that other programs are reflective of the community.
Okay.
That's what's important to me. So I don't have necessarily any foregone conclusions about this,
No,
right?
right. I don't think that's what we're opening it up for, right?
Absolutely, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay. Any further comments or discussions?
You brought up an interesting point when you were talking about every program should be self-sustaining or close, or we accept that as a responsibility of the district and understand it and we're okay with that. But the one thing I keep, when we think about swim school, when we look at what we're here for in swimming pool, swim school is that program. I don't think that's a good comparison, because that's why people build pools. We build pools to teach kids to swim. That is like the one program you could shut down this whole place, man, except for one thing, I think. It's my opinion only. But teaching kids to swim, having a healthy place for families to come, and then all that other stuff, it builds on it. And I want to see them all successful, but I don't think comparing swim school to any other program. I think if you were to ask people why they vote for the levy, more than any other reason, it's because they want the kids in this community to know how to swim. My opinion. That's just my opinion. No one has to agree with that.
I would just say additionally, I think we have to consider, we've heard a lot from patrons, we hear a lot from our staff as to, and if we look at the demographics of our population here, it's really, we have an aging community. And I think it's important to remember that as well. I think our first inclination is to think about the kids, and I think that's a really important one as well. I absolutely do, and I'm not taking away from that. But Island County Island County, Whidbey Island, and Oak Harbor are aging communities, and so to me that is an additional consideration.
Can you put a citizen on that committee?
I'm not sure the subcommittee will look into that. I think it's a good suggestion.
I think that's a great idea.
Multiple. Well, we talked about going into a workshop, so we'll have that open to the public too. So,
Absolutely.
So, and we'll use that. Okay. All right. Sidewalk outside.
Yesterday, I was here talking with Erica Miller outside, and an elderly gentleman comes out, and there's a spot right by the two disabled parking places. And there's like a little, kind of a little wheelchair ramp thing to where they... Anyway, there is a gap in two of the, I don't know the right term, the sidewalk panels or slabs or whatever. There's a gap between two that's kind of wide, but then the one is risen up where a tree root probably has kind of pushed that up. So you have a rise probably about like this. And anyway, the gentleman, and he shared with us, he couldn't lift his foot up, and he hit that uneven surface there, and it toppled him over, and he took a pretty big hit to his forehead and his nose, and Erica did an amazing job. She got ice for him, bandaged him up, took care of him, and we sat with him for a while. But anyway, so today I called Rich Teahouse, I think that's how you say his name, Teahouse. He's an employee of the city of Oak Harbor, and he actually got together with another city employee, and they came out and looked at it and said, guess what? That's ours. That's North Toby Park and Rec District sidewalk. So I said, well, what do we do? And he says, well, there's a concrete grinder you can rent from Diamond Rental. It's $150 a day. He said, it's pretty easy to do. And you just basically take that and basically make it more, I guess you grind it down to where it's smoother transition there. And he says if it's over 50 feet from a power source, you would need to rent a generator, which is $55 for 4 hours or $75 a day. If you went for a day, it would be $225. I don't know. I asked Diamond Rental and said, how hard is it to use? He said, it's pretty easy. I don't know. Dave, Shane?
I need one for 10 minutes. Well, maybe have I get in touch with you, maybe we share.
What he's saying is Shane works for the Island County Housing Authority. That's section of it. Is that legal to do that?
Do what?
I need one for 10 minutes, or do you guys need one for 10 minutes? Maybe we can talk to Jeff at Diamond, maybe we could split it or something. If I schedule.
Yeah, that's a director's job.
Yeah.
Hey, Shane, talk to her after. Anyway.
Can I?
Yeah.
Can we make this simple?
Yeah.
So that's okay with you?
Yeah.
Erica, can you look in ways to repairing the crack in the sidewalk so that we don't have an incident like this happen again?
Here you go, Erica. There's that. There's his name. There's Diamond Rental's number. There's the prices. So,
You good with that?
and great job. I was telling Erica, great job taking care of him yesterday. It was awesome. You did good. You good with that? Yeah, perfect with that. Thank you. She responded. I was like, oh, what the heck just happened? I was that guy.
We have no more new business. So, we opened for another public comment section. I did have one person sign up to speak, Ms. Patty Morris. Ms. Patty.
That was in regards to your accounting stuff.
Oh, all right. So, Ms.
I do have something.
Just a minute.
You guys were talking about
M-O-R-R.
something,
Kind of stuff.
prior when Director Walker was here and prior when Bill Patterson came aboard, Teresa Walton, is that how you say her last name? Seamus' mom.
Yeah. Warden.
Okay.
Yeah.
She did all the legwork, all the investigative, all the prep to creating a booster club to move the team to a booster. So if you're going to ask for a citizen on the committee, she would be your best bet. She's already done the right.
Is it
on that.
Warden?
Warden.
ARD?
W-A-R-D-E-N.
Okay. Thank you.
You know.
Patty, anything else?
No, I'll just grab you afterwards.
Okay. Ms. Lindvall?
I want to address the NWPRD issue as well. One of the things that concerns me over now is that we sort of allow the historical knowledge to evaporate. And it's important to understand that at one point, Elmwood actually had a booster club, and it was a combined thing. It was a booster club district, you paid dues to each. There was a reason, and there was a legal reason, the district decided to absorb it all into one entity. And that was in the late 90s. There's been a lot made of how NWPRD sort of this draw on the taxpayers, kind of sucking the life out of the district. And again, it's important to have that historical perspective and understand that before Mr. Walker came, NWAC was indeed profitable unless you're going to make the lane time argument. But to make the lane time argument, you've got a whole lot of problems. The first is, if you're going to say that's the going rate for lanes, you must charge that to any outside entity that rents our lanes. That means the Harvard School District contract needs to go to about 15 or 20 grand a year in order to make that comparable. The other problem is you've got to then set parameters, as Mr. Merrill was saying, to say, okay, what are the circumstances under which we take our own programs and charge them one time? How do we target that group? How do we define that? That's good luck. It's very challenging. You're going to say, well, only if there's a competitive outcome we do that. Well, they have to start parsing all kinds of things. And there's all kinds of odd things about that. And the fact is, the swim team is a program in the district. The problem that we're running into now is that at one point, that program in the district was about the size it is now. It had a fairly low-paid coach. It had certain, it had limitations. It grew to something big. We at one point had nearly 150 swimmers. That narrated the lane time they got, that narrated the expenditures, and it brought in the income. They paid for those panels up there, paid for the sandwich, it had a lot of things. Then there's been some actions over the last couple of years, and it wasn't just the terminations, a lot of other things, a lot of entropy that's gone on, and we're now down to this fractional fringe thing, which you do have to say, okay, what do we do with that? My concern is that the focus now is on, let's push the money onto someone else, instead of saying, okay, this is a program in the district, and indeed, it was very visible and very highly promoted in the levy, and in fact, the levy website is still up, you can see that. And it was important to this community because of what it does in the lives of those kids, not just the swimming part. There's never been a swimmer who's competed in a meet where those competition fees have been paid by the taxpayers. But that sort of false information has been propagated. So the question really, I think, that is before you now is, certainly that question, okay, do we want to privatize this, but is that in the best interest of the citizens? Why do we have a swim team? What is its place in that overall role? It's part of why kids come to swim lessons, because beyond once I learn how to swim, and they want to reach for that higher level. The master swimmers, we really did, between NWAC and master swimmers several years ago, $1.5 million into this community through some of the needs we had. We've lost instructors at Skagit, lost a department head at Skagit because of some of the actions that have been taken relative to the swim team. It's really important to look at that broad fabric and the impact in the community. And while I think there's clearly room and necessity for change, there's also a great need for much better understanding of its sport. When you can have a citizen say, why are we subsidizing a swim coach? And you all don't have an answer, that's alarming. Because it's not a subsidy. You staff the programs. Now, is it being staffed properly? Or, those are all other questions. But that fundamental question of this is a piece of our client base we serve, and it's important to this community. And I was out there with those people that we handed out thousands of cards to, along with all the other landmark swimmers in their sweatshirts. Our community knew that the swim team was part of this package, and what they said is, this is so important because where we have a high school with a 25% matriculation college rate, if you look at the history of NWAC, kids who made it through 8th grade on NWAC, they're about 90 to 95% matriculation college rate. Now, I realize you can't say, there's a direct cause of that. There's some other demographic selection in that. But there's a lot of kids that right now are going to college that are contacting their own coach saying, would you write me a recommendation? Because it was from you I learned to work hard. And when the says, I learned to do all these hard things. And so I think as you look at this, it's important to understand that some of the rhetoric that's gone on caused the collapse, caused the program to become a drain on the taxpayers. It wasn't that drain before. It actually promoted that. So the question is, what is the goal? What is the objective of the district? It's not the only thing. It's not the most important thing necessarily, depending on your perspective. Some people are going to say, we're curious, everybody's got their deal. But to single out that segment of the population and say they do not deserve to have the benefits of the levy. Only everybody else. If you're 12 to 18 and you are a competent swimmer, you do not deserve the benefits of the levy. You got to ask that question. We're going to spend $8,000 on kayaks for a program that does only one thing, and that's serve classes from Skagit Valley College. We probably don't make that much in that class.
We actually do. It is actually financially sustainable.
But-
It is. It's self-supporting.
Oh, good.
It is.
But-
We actually have that. I know you weren't here, but, and I'm not trying to be argumentative with you. That was actually, that's why it's important. Those were, no, but those were, that's actually some of the questions we asked before we made that vote. So it is, we are trying to achieve a bit more parity. Again, and I'm not trying to be argumentative.
What the levy said is that the levy paid, and I'm actually wrong, I have to look, I think the levy paid for about 55% of everything and cost about 45%. That's what the levy does. It maintains the schools, you can do things. So I just hope there'll be some of that historical investigation as well.
Thank you. Coach?
I'm a little confused. How do you pick and choose which tax-paying citizen you're going to defraud of their program? The Swin family are taxpayers, as are any other. The argument that while other communities have privatized swim clubs are communities and clubs who chose to have their own autonomy, and they did not have it forced upon them. Swim families are citizens like any other. This is their program at the pool. They pay taxes to have a swim team here. That's the program they're interested in. It's arbitrary to say, well, I'm going to pick the swim team as one that we're going to privatize because the parents there are paying taxes too. You might as well say that if any of the programs, possible exception of the swim school, right? But I mean, you cannot say that an aquatic facility is a necessary service. It's an amenity for the public in every way. All the programs are. An aquatic facility is an amenity. You cannot pick and choose your favorite citizens whose programs you're going to support and then others that you aren't.
And I think I would have to disagree. I apologize if I'm interrupting you. I think, first of all, I mean, part of what we're trying to do is gather information to determine the best thing to do. Sorry, go ahead.
No, may I interrupt you?
Sure, go ahead.
You sure?
Positively.
Okay. I would remind everybody that there's no decision.
Right.
We're moving forward. And it's to find out a way forward or if we're going to stay the way we are. So
Correct.
I'm glad there's passion, and I know there's passion on all sides. And I think what the committee's going to do is bring that passion together and give us many different avenues to include the one I know Coach is sitting here talking about, that staying the way we are, keeping our programs the way they are. So I think we all need to remember that that's going to be there. I'm pretty sure Coach is going to be part of this workshop and the way forward, as there will be folks from the community. So,
Of course.
why I appreciate everybody's comments. Coach, can I cut you off? Is that okay with you?
Well, as long as the fairness issue of the tax-paying families around the swim team is made, yes.
I believe it was made, sir.
And I just like to say, I too am a citizen and a taxpayer. So just to ensure that everyone's clear with that, I wouldn't be here if I wasn't, but I am as well. Like that?
Oh my God. Sean,
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
Wait, one last
Yes.
thing. When you guys start deciding,
Discussion.
thinking about that, real
Discussion.
quick,
Yep.
are you guys thinking also the same way the bases and the schools did of our influx of squadrons that we're going to be getting? The
We-
3,000 that
we-
they're counting?
It's good stuff for the subcommittee to bring back. And so what I want to remind everybody, and this is what I was trying to do when I interrupted poor Coach and Wendy, is that there's no decision to make a decision. What we've done tonight is there was a concern brought up by a commissioner to the board chair assigned a committee to look into this and report back to the whole board. The board, in an open public meeting, will make a decision on what to do next. So there's no decision, and we need to be very clear, there was no motion made or seconded tonight to move forward. All that was done was the chair appointed a committee because the commissioner brought up a concern. So we'll look into it and have that report back to you.
Can you confirm based on the law that subcommittees meetings have to be done in public? I believe they do. But even their meetings are subject to public meetings.
I need to look into that because I don't
If you just find out, that's fine.
I can look into that. Yeah, I was going to say, can I look into that? And then I will comment on that at next month's board meeting?
If it contains, I believe if it contains a majority.
Well, I'll look into it, and we'll put and what I'll do is I'll reference,
Of course, I think it'd be a good idea.
yeah. I'll look into it, and we'll report back on that and on how we're going to move forward next month. Bueno? Okay. Discussion, final comments or questions from the commissioners? Commissioner Hoffmeyer.
A comment was made about different sides. I would just like to say this. I think we're all on the same side, and that is that we want to see the North Liberty Park Rec District flourish, and each and every program here flourish. And I think that that's the side each and every one of us are, or we wouldn't be here, And we've all invested time and resources, and our kids and friends and family members and ourselves have had great times here. And I just want to encourage everyone to stay involved and really be part of something big that's ready to happen. I believe that. So, that's it.
Thanks, sir. Commissioner Singleton? Nothing? Thank you. Nothing. Commissioner? No? I'd like to thank everybody for coming out. I'd like to thank everybody for the enthusiasm tonight. I will say that our next meeting is Thursday, February 19th at 7 p.m. with a special meeting more than likely to happen as soon as possible in regards to finance. We will put that up with as much notice as we can to get as much public input as we can also. And I'll get that back from the interim director. Thank you. On that note, I need a motion for adjournment.
I move we adjourn.
We have a motion for adjournment. Do I have a second?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Have a good night.